Hello everyone. A lot of us tend to think that once December rolls around, we can finally put our gardening gloves away. The snow is falling, so we grab our hot tea and cookies and decide it's time to hibernate until spring. But what if I told you that right now, amidst all the holiday madness, you are actually laying the crucial foundation for your amazing future harvest? That's right, you heard me correctly. December isn't the time for hibernation. It's the time for smart, strategic moves. In this video, we're going to break down 20 essential tasks you need to get done in your garden before the ball drops on New Year's Eve. And trust me, if you tackle this checklist, you'll be thanking yourself come springtime. Not only will you save yourself time and a lot of stress, but you'll also protect your plants from a whole host of problems. Speaking of which, jump down to the comments right now and tell me, are you a December hibernator? Or are you already hard at work in your yard? Before we dive into the list, let's understand exactly why December is so critical. Winter isn't just a quiet resting period for your garden. It's a serious test of endurance. Frost, icy winds, heavy wet snow, hungry rodents, these are all major threats. Your plants are dormant and vulnerable right now, and our job is to help them survive this difficult period with the fewest possible losses. December work is essentially preventative maintenance. We aren't treating diseases, we are preventing them from starting. We aren't rescuing frozen plants, we are setting up the conditions so they don't freeze in the first place. Think of it like training for a marathon. The better prepared you are at the start line, the easier your race will be at the finish line, which for us is spring. December gives us the luxury of time to handle crucial tasks that we always find ourselves desperately rushing through come March and April. So let's stop looking at December as the end of the season and instead see it as its hidden but vital beginning. The very first thing we need to discuss, the most crucial task of the season, is snow retention. Don't treat snow like a nuisance that just needs shoveling off the pathways. Snow is, in fact, the best natural insulation your garden can get. Picture a thick, soft comforter, maybe a foot, 30 to 40 centimetres, deep. Beneath that protective layer, the soil temperature rarely dips below about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, -5 to 7 Celsius, even during the harshest deep freezes. Now contrast that with a bare, wind-whipped patch of ground where the frost penetrates 3 feet or more. That kind of deep freeze is essentially a death sentence for the root systems of many perennials, berry bushes, and young trees. Your job right now is to help that precious blanket cover everything important in your yard. Visualize this scenario. A gust of wind sweeps away that crucial snow cover from your strawberry beds or newly sown seeds, leaving the soil exposed. But look here, you've placed simple barriers, maybe boards, plywood sheets, or even just old spruce branches, and those barriers have caught the wind, piling up a huge, life-saving drift right where it's needed. That specific snowdrift, when spring arrives, will melt slowly, saturating the earth with vital moisture and giving your plants a powerful head start. Don't be lazy! Take a shovel and move snow from your pathways and clear areas right onto the garden beds, piling it up under your currant and gooseberry bushes and around the base of your fruit trees. This simple job will pay off tremendously come spring. The second crucial task is protecting your conifers. Our beloved evergreens don't suffer so much from the cold itself, but rather from two other enemies, the intense sun in late February and March and heavy snow. Let's look closer. In late winter, as the sun gets stronger, the needles wake up and start actively losing moisture through transpiration. But the roots, stuck in frozen ground, are still dormant and can't pull water up to replenish it. The result is winter burn. The needles simply dry out, turn yellow, and sometimes bronze. To prevent this, you need to shade your plants. You can use specialised shade netting or just wrap them loosely in an old sheet or burlap. Crucially, never use plastic sheeting or polyethylene, as this traps moisture and can cause the plants to suffocate and rot. The second major issue is branch breakage caused by heavy wet snow. Sprawling arborvitae, or thuja, and junipers are particularly susceptible. That's why you should gently brush or knock the snow off after every significant snowfall. Better yet, either starting in the fall or even now if you haven't yet, carefully wrap the branches with soft rope or twine, securing them close to the main trunk. Just picture a nicely wrapped arbor vitae, standing tall like a green candle, allowing snow to slide right off, versus a sprawling, unwrapped one, flattened and damaged by a heavy snowcap. The contrast is clear. Give this a little attention now, and come spring, your evergreens will reward you with vibrant emerald colour. Let's move on to our delicate favourites, roses and other tender, cold-sensitive plants. If you haven't given them winter protection yet, December, especially early December, before the heavy frost truly hit, is your absolute last chance. The classic air-dry winter shelter is the best approach. What exactly does that mean? It means building a protective dome or mini house over the plant. Crucially, this structure safeguards the plant, less from the cold itself, and more from excess moisture and sudden temperature swings. Picture a simple framework, perhaps using hoops, or just a sturdy wooden crate, placed over your pruned rose bush. This frame is then covered with several layers of garden fleece, or frost cloth. Make sure the edges are secured firmly to the ground with stones or planks. It's essential to leave small vents or gaps for air circulation so the plant doesn't succumb to damp rot or mould during warmer winter thaws. A common mistake is simply mounding up the rows with peat moss or sawdust. This is a bad idea. When those materials get wet, they freeze into an impenetrable block of ice. In the spring, this dense, wet mass causes serious crown rot, essentially suffocating the plant. The golden rule is this: the interior of the shelter must remain dry. This advice applies equally to hydrangeas, clematis, and any of your other sensitive varieties. Dedicate just an hour to build them a reliable little home, and they will absolutely reward you with abundant blooms come spring. Our fourth item on the agenda, the critical fight against rodents. Mice and rabbits don't hibernate. They're actively searching for food all winter long. And the bark of your young fruit trees? That's a gourmet meal to them. Imagine that young apple or pear tree you lovingly planted and nurtured. Then spring rolls around and you discover the trunk has been completely gnawed around the base, right down to the wood. This damage is called girdling, and in 99% of cases, it means the death of the tree. It's a genuine tragedy for any dedicated gardener. To prevent this devastation, you must take necessary precautions, ideally starting in December. First, wrap the trunks of all young trees. Use specialised plastic guards, breathable materials like burlap, or even old nylon pantyhose. The key is that the material must breathe. Avoid using materials like roofing felt or plastic sheeting. These trap moisture, causing the bark to rot or sweat underneath. Secondly, place poison bait around sensitive plantings, especially under rose covers or heavy mulch. Modern rodenticides are designed to mummify the pests, ensuring that you won't deal with any unpleasant odour. And third, after every major snowfall, tamp down the snow around the base of your trees. This creates a dense, icy crust that prevents mice from burrowing underneath the snow cover to reach the lower trunk bark. It's a simple action, but highly effective. The fifth point is closely linked to the previous ones. It's all about inspecting the winter shelters we've already put in place. December weather can be highly unpredictable. One minute you have a thaw and rain, and the next a strong wind, followed by an ice storm. This means you need to walk your property and inspect your garden at least once every week or two. So what exactly are we checking? First, check the overall integrity of your covers. High winds may have ripped the frost cloth right off your roses or completely loosened the burlap wrapping on your arborvitae. Imagine a sudden gust stripping a cover and leaving that tender plant exposed to bitter, sub-zero cold. If that happens, you need to repair it immediately. Second, check if the shelters are sagging under the weight of heavy snow. If the supporting frame over your hydrangea breaks, the collapse could severely damage the branches underneath. Carefully brush off any excess snow load to relieve the pressure. Third, ventilation is absolutely crucial during warmer spells. If temperatures rise above freezing, partially open the ends of your covers for a few hours. This releases trapped moisture and is the best way to prevent fungal diseases and rot from developing. A dormant winter garden still requires ongoing, routine attention. While the maintenance is simple, it is essential. Don't simply cover your plants and leave them unattended for the entire month of December. Your vigilance is the best guarantee for a successful spring. Tip number 6 focuses on protecting tree trunks not just from rodents but also from frost cracks and sun scald. This applies equally to young saplings and mature trees. What exactly is a frost crack? Picture a clear, frigid day in late winter. The sunny side of the trunk, typically the south side, heats up to above freezing temperatures, causing the sap to start flowing locally within the bark tissues. Then, overnight, the temperature plummets. This newly thawed moisture freezes instantly, expanding and violently splitting the wood fibres. The result is deep, vertical fissures. These are the frost cracks, and they are open invitations for pests and diseases. To prevent this, you need to whitewash the trunks and the bases of the main, or scaffold, branches. However, skip the cheap standard lime wash that will disappear with the first rain. Instead, use specialised horticultural paint or a durable whitewash mixture that includes an adhesive binder and copper sulfate for added disinfection. The white colour reflects the sun's rays, preventing the bark from overheating and staying cool. If you miss this essential step in the fall, a December warm spell is the perfect opportunity to catch up. Pick a day when the temperature is above freezing and get to work. A properly whitewashed tree not only looks well maintained, but more importantly, is far better protected. Think of it as sunscreen for your garden. Item number 7. Taking care of your greenhouse. If you own a polycarbonate greenhouse, don't assume it requires zero attention just because it's winter. The biggest danger is snow. A massive, heavy snow load can easily buckle or outright destroy the entire structure. Picture the depressing scene next spring. Instead of a greenhouse ready for planting, all you see is a heap of twisted metal and shattered plastic. That's why you need to regularly clear snow from the roof, especially after heavy storms. Be sure to do this carefully, using a plastic scraper or a soft broom so you don't scratch the polycarbonate panels. The second crucial point is internal bracing. If you live somewhere that gets heavy snowfall, it is definitely better to be safe than sorry and install several T-shaped supports inside the structure, placed directly under the ridge and rafters. This will significantly boost the structural integrity. Also, sometime in December, consider shoveling snow inside the greenhouse. This kills two birds with one stone. First, it prevents the soil from freezing deeply, which preserves the beneficial microorganisms and microflora. Second, the melting snow in spring will thoroughly saturate the ground with moisture, meaning you won't have to haul in water bucket by bucket when planting season starts. Task number 8, perfectly suited for those long December evenings, is sorting out and maintaining your garden equipment. Admit it, nothing kills your momentum in the busy spring season quite like discovering your pruners are dull and rusted, your shovel handle is cracked, or your sprayer is completely clogged. Now is the perfect time to calmly and unhurriedly get everything back into shape. Pull out every single tool. Use a wire brush to carefully scrub away all the soil and rust. Sharpen those pruners, loppers, utility knives, and even your lawnmower blades. Apply machine oil generously to all moving parts. Inspect the handles of your shovels and forks. If you find any splits or cracks, it's much easier to replace them now. Thoroughly rinse and dry your sprayer, checking every single nozzle head. Just imagine the satisfaction next spring when you reach for a perfectly maintained, clean and sharp tool. Your work will go much faster and bring you so much more pleasure. While you're at it, create a quick shopping list for anything you need to replace or acquire. Perhaps a new hose, a fresh pair of gloves, or a sturdier wheelbarrow. Add these items to your pre-holiday shopping list now, before the inevitable spring rush hits the garden centres. The 9th item on our list follows naturally from the last one, seed inventory and purchasing. December is truly the best time to tackle this. First, Pull out all your old seed packets, check those expiration dates, seeds for herbs like parsley and dill, and root vegetables like carrots lose viability quickly, so it's always safer to buy these fresh every year. But good news, tomatoes, cucumbers, and squash often keep much longer. The goal is to create 2 essential lists: what you have on hand and what you need to buy. Second, December is precisely when garden centres and online nurseries release their new catalogues and start shipping fresh stock. This means the selection is at its maximum, and you completely avoid the spring rush and crowds. You can sit comfortably in your favourite armchair with a cup of tea, peacefully browsing the newest, most interesting tomato varieties, or perhaps picking out some exotic flowers. Now is the time to visualise your future garden. What peppers do you want this year? Classic reds and yellows, or maybe some deep purples? Are you growing cucumbers for pickling or strictly for salads? Read the reviews, compare the traits of different cultivars. This is a truly engaging hobby that will brighten those long winter evenings. Crucially, detailed planning now helps you avoid those stressful, last-minute impulse buys in the spring when you end up grabbing whatever is left on the shelf. The 10th item on our list, and arguably one of the most enjoyable winter tasks, is planning next year's garden layout. This is a creative process that helps you avoid a lot of mistakes down the road. Grab a sheet of paper or open up a dedicated program on your computer and sketch out your garden plot. Mark where your raised beds, greenhouse, trees and shrubs are located. Now for the fun part, deciding what goes where for the upcoming growing season. The golden rule you absolutely must follow is crop rotation. You should never plant the same type of crop in the exact same spot several years running. For instance, after harvesting potatoes, avoid planting tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants, as they all belong to the nightshade family and share common diseases and pests. However, following beans, peas, or cabbage is perfectly acceptable. Take time to study compatibility charts for succession planting and companion cropping. Consider which plant neighbours will actively benefit each other. For example, carrots and onions deter each other's common pests, and marigolds, planted around the perimeter of your beds, are fantastic for deterring nematodes. A well-thought-out plan is the secret to a healthy garden and a truly bountiful harvest. Tip number 11 combines kindness with smart long-term planning. We're talking about feeding the birds. In winter, it's incredibly hard for our feathered friends to find enough to eat. By putting up a feeder in your garden, you're doing more than just saving a few chickadees or sparrows from starvation. You are making a huge investment in the future health of your yard. Birds that become accustomed to visiting you for winter snacks will stick around your property through the spring and summer. And consider this, just one chickadee can eliminate massive numbers of pests over the warmer months. Things like aphids, caterpillars and leaf rollers. This is the most eco-friendly and effective pest control system available, and it works for you completely free of charge. Picture the happy sound of birds chirping in your garden while your neighbours are struggling, using harsh chemicals to fight off an aphid invasion. You can make a feeder from practically anything, a simple plastic bottle, some scrap wood, or you can just buy a ready-made one. Fill it with unsalted seeds, millet, oats, or pieces of unsalted sweet or fat. This is a true delicacy, especially for chickadees. However, do not use hulled millet. It swells up inside their stomachs and can seriously harm the birds. Put up a feeder today and enjoy the sight and sound of your grateful, hard-working helpers. Task number 12 for truly dedicated or advanced gardeners: collecting scions for spring grafting. If you're looking to propagate a prized variety of apple, pear, or plum, or perhaps create a fruit cocktail tree by grafting multiple varieties onto one rootstock, December is the perfect month to collect your cuttings. This should be done on a day with slightly freezing temperatures, ensuring the tree is in its state of deepest winter dormancy. Select only well-matured, one-year-old growth, preferably those shoots located on the south or southwest side of the canopy. The ideal scions should be roughly pencil thick, perfectly healthy, and free from any signs of disease or damage. Cut them into lengths of 12 to 16 inches or 30 to 40 centimetres. Bundle them together immediately and, crucially, attach a label specifying the cultivar name to avoid mix-ups later. The next step is proper storage until spring arrives. The perfect method is to wrap them in damp material, place them inside a sealed plastic bag, and store them either in the crisper drawer of your refrigerator, or better yet, bury them deep in a snowdrift on the shady north side of your property. Just imagine the satisfaction next spring, pulling out these dormant living sticks and using them to create your very own multi-variety fruit cocktail tree. This is truly the ultimate expression of the art of gardening, and the preparation begins right now, in December. Number 13. The root cellar or basement inspection. The harvest is in and safely stored away, but that doesn't mean you can forget about it until spring. In December, you absolutely must go down to your storage area and conduct a thorough inspection. Carefully go through your potatoes, carrots, beets, and apples. If you spot even a single rotten or diseased item, get rid of it immediately. Rot spreads extremely fast and can wipe out a significant portion of your stored goods. Imagine a crate of apples where just one bad apple contaminates 10 others in a single week. Regular checks easily prevent this kind of catastrophe. Also, pay close attention to the humidity and temperature levels in the cellar. The optimal temperature for storing most vegetables is between +2 and +4 degrees Celsius, with humidity ideally hovering around 90%. If your cellar is too dry, your vegetables will start to shrivel. You can easily fix this by setting out a bucket of water. If it's too damp and mould has appeared, you need to boost the ventilation and treat the walls with a solution of lime or copper sulfate. Taking care of your stored harvest is just as crucial as the work you put into growing it. Our 14th point might not sound strictly like outdoor gardening, but it's actually highly relevant for many hobbyists. This involves paying close attention to your houseplants, especially those that spent the summer outside and have recently been moved back indoors for the winter. December is arguably the toughest month these plants face. Days are short, and indoor air is incredibly dry because of central heating. This combination puts plants under severe stress, and your job is to help them manage this transition. First, provide supplemental lighting using grow lights. Turn them on both morning and evening, extending the daylight period to 12 to 14 hours. Second, combat the dry air. Regularly mist your plants with tepid water, place trays of water near them, or use a dedicated humidifier. Picture a delicate fern whose leaf tips are browning and crisping due to lack of moisture. A simple twice-daily misting can be a lifesaver. Third, cut back on watering. Plants drink much less in winter, and overwatering is significantly more dangerous than underwatering. Only water when the top inch or two of soil is completely dry, and absolutely no fertilizer until spring. Point number 15. It's time to build or replenish your compost pile. Don't let winter stop the production of black gold. That's what we call quality compost. December is actually when you acquire a wealth of organic waste, perfect for starting or boosting a pile. Think of your typical kitchen scraps, vegetable peelings, used tea leaves and coffee grounds. Just remember, never add meat or dairy products. They attract pests like rodents and cause nasty putrefaction. If you heat your home with a fireplace or stove, wood ash is a treasure trove of potassium and phosphorus. This valuable fertilizer absolutely belongs in your compost bin. If you're clearing out dead branches from the garden, shred them and add them to the pile. They make an excellent bulking or aeration material. To keep the composting process going strong, even during freezing temperatures, try soaking the pile with hot water or a specialized solution containing effective microorganisms, EM. Just imagine the invisible life thriving under that layer of snow. By spring, you'll have a fresh batch of nutrient-rich fertilizer, created almost entirely from scratch by your own hands. Point number 16. Taking care of your lawn. You might wonder, what harm can come to grass buried under snow? But even here, there are subtleties you should know. The number one enemy of your lawn in winter is foot traffic. Absolutely do not create paths across the snowy lawn, and definitely don't try to build an ice rink there. Why? When you walk on the snow, it compacts immediately, turning into a solid icy crust. This crust smothers the grass, preventing vital air circulation. When spring comes, the trapped turf essentially suffocates and rots, a process commonly known as winter kill. The result is an unsightly bare patch right where your path was, and it will take a significant effort to repair. Picture a perfectly manicured emerald green lawn next spring, marred only by yellow tracks outlining your winter shortcuts. To prevent this, stick strictly to established pathways. If you don't have dedicated walkways, lay down temporary ones using planks or boards. Also, when clearing sidewalks and driveways, be careful not to pile huge snowbanks onto the grass, especially if that snow contains road salt or chemical de-icers. These chemicals can be highly damaging to the turf. Your lawn needs to rest undisturbed under an even layer of light, fluffy snow throughout the winter. Task 17 involves the timely removal of snow from the branches of your trees and shrubs. We've already mentioned this when discussing evergreens, but this rule applies equally to deciduous trees, especially those with brittle wood or widespread sprawling crowns. The greatest danger comes from wet, heavy, sticky snow. It clings to branches in huge, weighty clumps, and this massive load can easily snap them. Picture a beautiful weeping willow or an old apple tree standing in the spring, scarred and disfigured by broken limbs. Not only does this ruin the tree's appearance, but it also creates serious wounds that require long-term care and healing. Therefore, after every heavy snowfall, especially if it was followed by a slight thaw, make sure to grab a long pole, wrap the end in a soft cloth, and gently brush the snow off the branches. There's no need to strike the branches forcefully. Gentle tapping or nudging motions are sufficient. This simple, preventative measure will help keep your tree canopy intact and healthy until spring arrives. Tip number 18. Get your potting mix ready well in advance for your future seedlings. Yes, we're talking December. Come spring, when it's time to sow those peppers and eggplants, you won't want to be scrambling around looking for all the ingredients for your soil mix. Plus, soil brought in from the freezing cold needs a lot of time just to thaw out and warm up. So, do it now. If your garden soil is naturally good and fertile, simply scoop it into buckets or bags and bring it somewhere that won't freeze, like a shed, garage, or sunroom. If your soil is clay-heavy or overly sandy, you'll definitely need to amend it. Mix your garden soil with store-bought peat moss, humus, or well-rotted compost. Add a little sand for better drainage and some wood ash as a natural fertilizer. Sift the resulting mixture to make sure it's uniform and airy. Just picture this. It's February. You pull out this already prepared, perfectly warmed, ideal potting mix and calmly sow your seeds. No rushing, no fuss. Preparing ahead of time is the key to success for growing strong, healthy seedlings. The 19th item on our checklist, which is the second to last, focuses on checking your gutters and irrigation systems. Before the ground freezes solid, it's crucial to ensure that all systems where water might be trapped are completely drained. Start by checking the downspouts and gutters on your house and any other outbuildings. If they are clogged with leaves or debris, water won't drain properly. It will freeze, and the resulting ice expansion could easily tear the seams or burst the pipes. Next, completely drain all water from rain barrels, storage tanks, and any other watering containers. Flip these containers upside down for the winter. If you skip this step, the expanding ice will almost certainly crack and ruin your container. Imagine the frustration of finding a perfectly good barrel cracked come springtime. You must also make sure to drain or blow out all garden hoses and drip irrigation lines if you use them. Once empty, store these items away safely in a shed or garage. Finally, leave all exterior spigots or hose bibs in the open position. Taking these few simple steps now will save you from costly repairs and nasty surprises when spring arrives. And finally, item number 20, the most festive one of all. December is all about anticipating the holidays, and your garden can be a goldmine for inspiration and natural decorating materials. Grab your pruners and take a walk around the yard. Cut some pine or spruce branches. They make fantastic Christmas wreaths or beautiful table centerpieces. Gather pine cones and look for clusters of frozen, rowan or viburnum berries. Don't forget to find those beautiful curved branches from deciduous trees. You can spray paint all these materials, gold or silver, add glitter, and create a truly unique holiday display. Imagine your festive dining table featuring a centerpiece made of fresh fir boughs, cones, and berries, all sourced right from your own garden. It's not only beautiful and eco-friendly, but it also fills your home with that unmistakable aroma of the season. This is a wonderful way to end the gardening year on a high note, thank your garden for its gifts, and dream about the next season. Creating this kind of beauty is the best possible conclusion to our list of December tasks. So that brings us to the end of our substantial list of 20 essential tasks. As you can see, December in the garden is far from the dead season. Instead, it's a time for quiet, thoughtful, and incredibly important preparation. This is the month where we aren't fighting weeds and pests. Instead, we're getting ahead of the curve, creating comfortable and safe overwintering conditions for the entire garden. By completing these tasks, you are laying a strong foundation for next year's harvest. Most importantly, when the busy season hits next spring, you'll have far fewer headaches and much less stress. You can simply enjoy the awakening of nature, instead of rushing to clean up the mess left by winter dormancy. Thank you so much for watching the video all the way to the end. I truly hope you found it useful and will put at least a few of these tips to good use. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming videos, and please hit the like button if you enjoyed this one. Now I have a question for you. What do you think is the most crucial December gardening chore? Is there something major that I missed? Please share your experience in the comments below. I'd be genuinely interested to read your advice. See you in the next video, and happy holidays!